Good afternoon and welcome to How to Improve Salesforce Data Quality with Cloudingo. Today we're going to talk about a number of different tools that you can use to improve your data quality, as well as showing you how it looks in action with Cloudingo. So in this session, we're going to talk about filters, which are the queries we can build for different types of jobs, whether it's data maintenance or deduping. We're also going to show you how the merge rules work. This will enable you to merge records configured to your specific requirements, everything from selecting a master down to specific field rules. We're also going to talk about 3 different ways that you can merge with Cloudingo: manual merging, mass merging, and scheduled automation, as well as covering a number of other functions that are available, like importing so that you can add campaigns and dedupe on the way in, data maintenance, where we have 5 different types of jobs to allow you to update and delete data to improve the quality, find data, and a number of special options that are available at the enterprise level. Now, most importantly, we want to encourage you to start a free trial after we take a look at Cloudingo today. If you go to cloudingo.com, you'll be able to install a trial in your own account, get a free scan of your data to see what the data quality is, and get a feel for how Cloudingo works in your own organization. So with that said, let's jump in and look at Cloudingo. This is the dedupe dashboard. And when you first create a trial, you'll have a number of filters pre-configured, so you don't have to create everything from scratch. So you'll have lead filters, contact filters, account filters, and then multi-table filters, which are looking from leads to the other 2 objects. So the lead to contact filters will enable you to find duplicates that exist across both of those objects. You'll also have lead to account filters. The lead to account filter is designed to identify leads where the company on the lead already exists as an account for you. And if it's part of your business process, for instance, if you wanted to convert leads, if it's a current customer, you'll be able to convert those leads into contacts affiliated with the account. Now, if you have person accounts, you'll also have a series of person account filters that come pre-configured, and you can create as many additional filters or queries as you need for your own environment. Another type of job that's easy to build are cross-match filters, where we can compare one field on an object to a different field on the same object. And a good example of that would be maybe after you've cleaned up some of the simpler tables, now you want to look to see if by any chance you have a contact where the business phone in one record was populated in the mobile phone field in another. So that's an additional type of filter that you can build. Now, each filter or query enables you to customize the fields that you're requiring to match and the matching styles that are used. So you'll notice on the top of every filter, you have a full set of menu options. You can copy filters to use as a template or just go in and edit the existing filter. So we're going to come in and take a look. There are 4 simple tabs. The second tab is where you can choose what fields need to match and what matching styles you'd like to use. So on the left, you'll see all of the Salesforce fields for this particular object. And on the right, you'll see the fields that we're currently requiring to match. So if we wanted to catch people that maybe have come in with different emails, but they're at the same company, we could click the X to remove the email requirement, and it's just drag and drop to add other fields. Now you'll notice the field defaulted to an exact match, but we have a wide range of different matching styles. They're fairly logical. Also, we have wonderful documentation, and our team is available to help you if you need a little assistance getting started. But you'll notice that we have a long list of these matching styles. Some of them are for specific fields, like company name clean is designed to give you a more robust match on the company name field on a lead or the account name on an account or contact. What this does is it ignores articles like the words a and the. It also will ignore common corporate suffixes. So incorporated, company, limited, LLC, group, GmbH, all of those type of suffixes that could be written out might have been abbreviated or could just get left off or ignored to give you a more robust match. Company name cleaned is also going to help you match the word and on one record when the ampersand or the symbol is used on another record. We have a domain match for the email fields, a URL matching style designed to help you with web fields, websites, which can help you catch different versions like an HTTP format versus a www format. We also have a couple of algorithms designed specifically for phone fields. Phone North America is very useful if most of your customers are in the US and Canada because we're looking for those 10 digits that are used in those two countries. So the area code, the exchange, and the number, that would ignore differences in formatting, would also ignore differences in spaces. So maybe one record has a parentheses and a hyphen and another number is just written all together. We would still be able to find that as a match for you, as well as ignoring extraneous characters like a +1 at the beginning that might not be included in another number. Phone International is an even more fuzzy match designed to accommodate some of the differences in different country formats that are not limited to the 10 digits that we have in US and Canada. We also have matching styles you can use on any fields. Numeric only just requires the numbers in a field to match. Letters only, the letters. First number of characters, first number of words, and last number of characters or last number of words. With each of those, you can determine the number of characters or the number of words that you want to require to match. So it could be as wide or as tight a match as you would like for a specific field. Finally, we have a fuzzy matching style, and fuzzy has two different functions. So we're going to talk about it two different ways. One is when you use fuzzy on a field like the company field. It's going to be the Metaphone 3 matching style, which is designed to help you catch all sorts of anomalies and variations like misspelled words, transposed letters, minor discrepancies and anomalies that you don't necessarily know how to compensate for ahead of time. You could also use fuzzy on any of your Salesforce street fields, and it's going to have a very specific function. So when you use this fuzzy match on a street, we're also going to include a 3-part synonym function. So directions like north, south, east, and west could be abbreviated, but they could also be written out. Then street names that are numbers. 5th Street, for example, could be 5TH, or it could be written out as FIFTH. And our fuzzy match would catch that for you. The third piece of our street synonym would be for street names that may be abbreviated different ways, like avenue, boulevard, court. Even the word street itself could be abbreviated or might be written out on a different record. So the fuzzy has a wonderful function when you use it on your Salesforce street fields. Now, in conjunction with any two fields, once you've chosen the matching style, you do have the ability to choose match on empty as another option. And what the match on empty does is it tells Cloudingo that if there's a value present, it has to match with the matching style you've chosen. However, if one record has a value, but another is blank, we would also present those to you as possible matches. So it's very helpful for fields that are not required fields, that maybe sometimes you have information and you would want it to match, but in other records there may be no information and you still would like to see those as potential duplicates. So that's the match on empty style. So the idea is that you can choose the fields with the matching styles that you would like. Another couple of options are that you can enable synonyms for first names. We have a complete list built in on your synonym menus up here. So we would find formal names with their nickname counterparts, as well as some versions that may have an accent in one version and not in another. So it's a very robust list, but it is editable if there's anything you would like to add. Also, letters only is a nice option for last name because this would allow for common discrepancies, like you may have an apostrophe in one version of O'Connor, but another record may have the apostrophe left off. Or you may have spacing differences, like De La Rosa could be D-E space L-A, or it could be written all together as D-E-L-A-R-O-S-A with no spacing. And letters only would find those variations as a match. So once you've chosen the fields that you need to match on tab 2, you have 2 more options available. And these are a little more advanced and nothing is required. The idea of the third tab would be that if you'd like to limit the subset, and so a simple example would be maybe you're building an account filter. You say to begin with, we only want to look at accounts in North America. So you could say the country has to be equal to the US or Canada. And by using a comma, no space, to separate values on equal or on not equal, it serves as OR logic. So you could have one filter looking at this subset of records and then easily copy this filter and say not equal to US and Canada and have another filter that's your non-North American accounts. You also can use this third tab for other options. For instance, if you're merging contacts and you know you have a lot of test records with your own employees' domain, you could say the email does not contain and put that domain in, and then those would not even be pulled into the filter. Sometimes people want to look just at a specific record type or maybe ignore a specific record type. So that's available as well. And that's the purpose of this third tab, to allow you to limit the scope if you'd like to for your filter. Now the fourth tab is even more advanced and everyone does not need this, but the purpose of this is to allow you to limit some sort of requirement for each individual group instead of the entire subset of records that you're limiting on tab 3. So one example would be you've built out nice type filters and then you've created your merge rules, which is what we're going to look at next. But now you'd like to limit the size because you'd like to run automation on a nightly basis. And in the beginning, you just feel more comfortable if you're running it only on smaller groups of duplicates. So you could say, we want to limit the size for every group that we're finding in this filter to less than or equal to 5. And of course, that allows you to then copy this filter and have another filter for everything that you needed to manually review. So greater than or equal to 6. Another way this is sometimes used is if you'd like to require a specific requirement for one record within each group, but then pull in all of the matches. So for instance, you could say the account type for at least one record within each group has to have a certain value and it's customer. And then you know that every group of duplicates that you pull up in this filter would have at least one customer record, but then go pull in the matching records so that you could maybe choose the customer as the master. So that gives you some ideas on all the options for building out filters. And this filter logic is going to be available not just on your deduping, but on the data maintenance for deciding how you want to standardize records as well. The next piece that we want to look at will be to talk about your merge rules. And the merge rules are what allow you to put rules in place for how Cloudingo is going to handle the records once we've identified the duplicates. So we're going to go in and show you what that looks like. And initially you'll have one default rule, which will be used for all of the specific object, but you can customize these and create as many different merge rules as you need for different scenarios and how to handle different types of records. So we're going to go in and we want to show you how to work from the highest or most general level down to the specific field level. So the first decision you'll get to make is what's the best way to select a master record. And when you first create a trial with Cloudingo, it's going to be selecting the newest by modified date to try and give you the most up-to-date field values. But you're not limited to that. If you'd prefer a create date, maybe you have a lot of system updates that happen weekly, so modified date isn't relevant, you could choose a create date. But you also have the ability now to choose by any date field. So maybe for contacts, you'd like the contact with the most recent activity. Or for an account, you'd like the most recent or the latest subscription date. So you have all of your date options available. But we also have a number of other options. One really nice option that's available is if you have community user or portal accounts, Cloudingo will recognize that and automatically protect those. So you could choose the protected record as the master. You'll be able to prioritize on a field, for instance, choosing the status and then saying, hey, we'd like to look because if we have a qualified record, that should be our master lead. And next, if somebody is working with one of the records or they've been contacted, but we would only choose a new record as master as our last choice if none of the others have been worked. You'll always have a tiebreaker as well. You could choose the highest number in any numeric field. And finally, we have two more general choices. If you'd like, you can simply tell Cloudingo to choose the record with the most fields populated or the most complete record or the record with the most of those common attached objects. So the most notes, activities, tasks, campaigns, all of those. Now, once we've chosen your master selection, the next section is designed to always make sure that you're getting the most complete record that can be possibly created. And so this is where we're automatically saying to override any blank fields on the master with information from another record when it's available. And think of the first drop-down menu as your tiebreaker. So if your master contact doesn't have a phone number, but you have 3 duplicates and they all have phone numbers, would you like us to select the newest by modified date, by create date, or even the most common? Now the third section comes blank, and this is designed to really let you customize your records. So the purpose of this section would be to add any fields that we need to handle differently from the way you're choosing the master, or fields that you need to capture on an audit report or capture alternative values. So I have some common examples just to give you an idea of how this can work. The first is going to be that you can create a combined list. What happens in this? If you have text fields or multi-select pick lists, you would say, choose a combined list, tell Cloudingo how you'd like to separate the values, and then instead of just one item in the final record, you'd have all the available options from the various records that you're merging. You can choose just to prioritize specific fields. And so maybe you do want the newest information overall for your master, but you still want to prioritize the status field. Another example of a field that you could prioritize would be checkboxes, because remember, those are never blank. The checkboxes are true-false fields in Salesforce. So if you'd like to say if one record is checked, we always want the final record to be checked, you would prioritize true. You probably have a few fields where you want the original information, and lead source is a good example of that, where you can say we want the oldest by create date. This takes us to another option. Sometimes you have fields that need to be handled as a group. For instance, lead source and lead source detail, and you want to make sure that the detail always comes from the record where you're choosing the lead source. That's what you would use this second tab and create any groups that you want handled together and choose the controlling field, which would determine how the other fields get populated. Phone is a good example of a field where it's a formatted field, so we can't give you a combined list in the field itself. And so frequently people are wanting, for instance, on contacts to have the newest by modifier create date. But you also want to be careful not to lose other phone numbers that a user might still need. There's no way of knowing. Maybe one record is a direct dial and one is the main company line. So what you can do is tell us how you'd like to populate the field itself, and then you're going to come in and you have two options for how to capture the information right on the final Salesforce record. One is to tell Cloudingo to combine those field values into another field, where you'll get to choose the field, and it can be something generic because we're not going to overwrite what's already there. You'll get to determine how to separate the values and then how to separate this information from anything else. We'll automatically remove the duplicate entries, so each one is just listed a single time. So this gives you one option where you get to choose an actual field. Another is to tell Cloudingo just to attach a note. And you can attach a note for as many individual fields as you want. And what happens is at the time of the merge, if there were different values on the various records and you've told us to create a note, we would attach a note in that related note section. And it would say Cloudingo note, so the user knows it comes from a merge. And it would say phone, using that as our example, list the value placed in the phone field, but it's also going to say others and list all of the other values from the various records. We do also have an audit report. And the way this differs is field note and combining values captures the information on the final record. The audit report adds any fields that you want captured to a report that you can run on your Cloudingo reports dashboard, going back as far as a year if you ever needed to. So you just need to tell us what fields you want captured in advance, because otherwise Cloudingo would only capture things like the Salesforce ID, whether it was a lead, contact, account, custom object, whether it was a merge or a convert, the group display name, and a group ID. So you choose the fields that you want added to your audit report. The last two options in your actions section are about formatting the final record. You can have Cloudingo remove white spaces or even format using title, uppercase, or lowercase, wherever needed. Finally, you have the ability to create rules to keep the master value as long as it's not on an ignore list. And this is a wonderful option when you have web forms or marketing automation systems, where if someone doesn't fill in a value, it becomes something generic. Like, for instance, if the company isn't populated, since it's a required field, it may become something like unknown, not provided, and you build the list of the items that you'd prefer we skip in favor of more accurate information that might be available on another record. Lastly, you'll have exceptions that you can put in place when you run automation, just sort of as a safety net. For instance, if you say, we're ready to automate this filter, but if we ever had a group with more than 50 copies of the same record, we would want to take a look at that because that's such a weird anomaly for us. We normally have groups of just 2 or 3. So that's where the exceptions would come into play. Now, very briefly, we're going to show you what this looks like in the merge grid because you have a number of options. We would come into a contact filter. You'll see the duplicate records displayed side by side. You do have the ability to customize the way they're displayed. So you can collapse empty rows or choose to see all of the fields. You can adjust the column width. You also have the ability to change the field ordering and style. So for instance, I have all of my phone fields together. You do have the ability to do inline editing where you select a different option and it's immediately updated, or even to go in and change if you know something is just wrong. And then submitting the merge manually would allow you to make any of those last-minute changes. Now, in the interest of time, we're going to jump to mass merging, which would allow you to choose everything on a page and submit it by saying mass merge, or you could cherry pick and choose a number of options. You can also tell Cloudingo to automate a filter, where you do it as a single job where we say start automation now, or pre-schedule filters so that those nice type filters can run automatically without someone having to intervene and handle the duplicates. So a lead filter that matches on email, last name, and first name, you could have scheduled to run every night, say at 8 p.m., and to automatically merge whatever is found. And then other filters where you might prefer to review them, you can just schedule to calculate if you would like, so you have the most up-to-date totals, but not schedule the automation. So you're going to have complete control over all of your filters and how you'd like to handle them. Now, the other functions that are available with Cloudingo are going to include an import wizard, where you can import CSV files, scan against the existing records, add a campaign, update the existing records, and just push clean unique records for any of those objects. We also have a find data, which would allow you to take a CSV file. Maybe you say, we think these are contacts that already exist for us, but we'd like to find what their email address is, who the account is that they're affiliated with, and what the account owner's name is. So you can tell Cloudingo what information you need to find in Salesforce. You will have a data maintenance dashboard as well. And the data maintenance dashboard is going to give you the option of 5 different types of jobs. So you would say create a new job, and the available jobs will come pre-configured with address validation filters, where we compare your existing addresses to U.S. Postal Service deliverable standards and can enrich and standardize them, for instance, with the ZIP+4, the correct 2-letter abbreviation, and formatting according to the Postal Service. Some of your other type of maintenance jobs are going to include updating contacts from their affiliated account. And an example of that would be maybe you've reassigned some accounts, and now you need to make sure the contacts are owned by the same person who now owns the account. Well, that can be automated and built into a job that you run whenever you need to, or you pre-schedule. You can use update filters for data quality to just format things consistently. For instance, format uppercase for the first name, last name, and company, and format to have title, to have the phone formatted with parentheses and a hyphen, and possibly how you'd like to format the extension. Would you like to use an EXT, or would you like to say just an X, or just say allow extension, however it's come in. So these are all formatting types of jobs. You can also add fields to do a find and replace, and update any fields that you may need to empty. Maybe you've used it for another project and now you'd like to blank out a field. So lots of options are available for your update. You also have the ability to build jobs to update matching records, which essentially allows you to build a filter like a dedupe filter, but not merge the records. Just create that here on the data maintenance dashboard to perform some sort of updating task. We've had requests and customers schedule filters where maybe you want to update the owner when it's been 180 days and the lead has no activity, or to add a campaign. So update contact from the owner, update matching records, update unique records like formatting. You can build delete filters where you can delete different records, and the address validation are all available on your data maintenance dashboard. Finally, we want to mention a couple other options that are available at the enterprise level that are also helpful for your data quality. One is that we have API integration that you can create. It's open SOAP REST API connections, so you can tie in the Salesforce cleanup with some of your other operations or other integrations that you have going on. And we now have an undo restore function that can be set up at the enterprise level, so that if you need to roll back a merge to the original format and status of the records before the merge, where it reparents the original objects on the other objects, that's available for you as well. Now, the last thing we're going to touch on ever so briefly is going to be a reports dashboard. You have a wide range of different reports that are available. You'll be able to look at the data in different ways. This is also where you'll be able to access the undo and restore. And we have an activity stream, errors and warnings. So should you have an exception where groups are skipped based on one of your exception rules, or should there be a problem with a merge, you'll have an easy way to identify what the group is, what filter it was in, and why the group was skipped or failed. These reports can be pre-configured so that they're scheduled to go out on an automated basis to anyone you would like. And as you can see, we have a wide range of tools to help you with your data quality, and we were only able to touch on a few of those functions here today in our 30-minute session. So we're going to invite you to start a trial where you can get a free health scan of your own database. You'll be able to contact our support team if you need them. We also have a link to our help site, which is help.cloudingo.com, where there are extensive articles, videos, tutorials on any of the topics that you'd like to dive into a little bit deeper. And of course, our team at Cloudingo is here and available to help. So we thank you so much for joining us today. Look forward to speaking with you live and hope we can meet again in the future.